Guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're watching a video about a nightmare neighbour who literally accuses her neighbours of being prostitutes. I know that sounds like really crazy, but I've got a feeling this woman's a Karen.
Quite a few older people live down here, and I actually noticed these two young girls were getting out.
Oh my god, two young girls got out of the car. They're definitely selling their bodies. I think I've seen this video years ago on television, and if this is the woman who I think it is, she's a major Karen.
One of them was quite tall, the other one was a little bit smaller. They looked very Eastern European.
Eastern European, that is like Ukrainian. I think that's what it is. I mean, to be honest, European girls are beautiful. Like, honestly, they're hot.
Very dark hair. They were two lovely looking girls. They were two very, very attractive girls. Very attractive girls.
But you then accuse them of being hookers. I mean, maybe we should just give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they were. Maybe we're judging the woman.
And I just thought, oh, new neighbours. Two girls. That's not normal for around here.
So apparently it's not normal to have two young, beautiful girls around there. Does she live in an area of like ugly people? Imagine she's like, I'm the queen of this land, like I'm the most beautiful woman here. You two girlies can get out because you ain't overtaken me.
And that wasn't all that caught Alison's attention.
What I actually found was quite strange.
Okay, something's very strange. She's found something strange. Alison's on their case. She's gonna tell us what she thought was strange.
The guy that moved them in was actually speaking to the two girls, asking them what did they want to eat, did they want fries with it, didn't they want fries with it.
Okay, so maybe he was just going to get the McDonald's, you know, if you're getting McDonald's, sometimes you want chips, sometimes you do. He could be like a relative, he could be their cousin, he could like be a family friend, you don't know, just because he's offering to get them food doesn't mean anything.
I thought a landlord wouldn't really speak to two tenants like that.
Alison, are you a landlord? Do you know how the landlord business goes? Imagine Alison like owns all the houses, she's like the major landlord. She's like, right, you two girlies, you ain't paying me, so you can get out.
Intrigued, Alison was to witness more and more comings and goings over the next few days.
Maybe they just have like a load of family. You know, European people are very friendly, especially Italian people. Like whenever I went to Italy and Belgium, was it? I went there to go skiing years ago and the people are very friendly. They're quite touchy as well, but you know, they know everyone. They're very welcoming and like very friendly.
I actually noticed the guy that moved them in came time after time after time, probably for the next 5 days.
Why are you watching them? Like I could just imagine her stood at her window literally looking out watching them. I've got a feeling Alison hasn't got a lot going on in her life. Does she have a job? She spent the past 5 days stalking these poor girls.
With his little work belt on and a ladder, and because of the amount of time that he came.
So because he's went in and he spent a lot of time in there, she's suspicious. They could be completely redecorating the inside of the house. You know, sometimes whenever people move in and they see something they don't like, they'll rip it all off and like stick it back together in a different way. Alison, sweetie, you need to get your nose out of their business.
One would assume that he was actually the landlord because he was there that often.
And it wasn't just the shifty landlord. The girls that had moved in appeared to stand out from the regular locals.
Why are they standing out just because they're beautiful? I mean, that's low-key like a compliment, but I feel like they're using it as an insult. I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what they're doing, like, you know, I think we know in the back of our heads what they're probably doing, but you know, there's no actual proof yet.
After they'd actually moved in and they'd been in there a few days, I was just sat watching the TV. This little silver car pulled up.
Oh, no, that's how she's like, I was just watching the TV. Realistically, she was stood at the window of the TV on in the background watching out. That's actually quite scary. Like, imagine, like, you look out and she's just staring in like that. I've got a neighbour across the road from me who's quite old. I think she does have, like, schizophrenia or dementia. She sometimes does have this habit where she'll just, like, open the window and close it, or open the blinds and close it and just stare out. One time I thought she was staring at me, but, like, she couldn't see me. It was scary, like, it freaked me out.
Didn't think anything of it. Anyway, he got out and it turned out he went next door. He was probably in there for about 10 minutes.
Oh my god, 10 minutes. They've broken the law. Honestly, Alison should head up the police straight away. She needs the 999 not phone to get them all arrested.
Shuffled back out, got into his car and quickly drove away.
But that doesn't actually mean anything. Just because he shuffled out and drove away quickly doesn't mean anything. He's not really going to drive at 5 miles per hour, is he? Maybe he's a boy racer who likes to drive quickly.
Didn't really think much of it until another car pulled up, parked again in front of the house, went in, probably was in there for maybe about half an hour.
She's literally sat there counting the clock. shock. I'm telling you, Alison wasn't watching the TV. She wasn't watching Jeremy Kyle. She was stood at the window watching him with like a timer. I bet you she had like a stopwatch, that's what it's called. She was literally timing it the minute she heard the door close and the minute it opened again. Alison is stood there like a PE teacher.
Came back out, got in his car, drove off. Then about 10 minutes later, somebody else turned up, and I'm thinking, what's actually going on here?
I mean, well, how about you don't think? Like, don't think, don't stalk them. This is literal stalking. Imagine if a man done this. You know, Alison, maybe your neighbours should do that. What are you getting up to? I bet you neighbours across the street are always wondering, why is our Alison sat at the window looking out 24/7?
I mean, I've lived round here for that long. No guys have ever come that many and knocked on my door like that. I've never had that many friends.
Well, maybe they're just like really friendly. You know, European people are quite friendly. I mean, Alison, if you're thinking that your neighbour's getting up to sketchy stuff and stalking them, I'm not surprised people don't turn up to your house. Maybe they're talkative people, maybe they've got family, maybe they run a wee business. You know, pipe down, Karen.
And the evening had just got started.
About 8 or 9 different cars pulled up. Some stayed 10 minutes, some stayed half an hour, some stayed 20 minutes.
People can have parties, like, you know, they probably are selling their body. But, you know, people have birthday parties, maybe it was their birthday, maybe they're doing a celebration. You know, like, you get a load of family members round and then they all come in and they eventually leave in their own time.
A lot of them were quite high-end cars, not your little old bangers.
Yet again, they're beautiful girls. Maybe they've got sugar daddies. Maybe they come from a rich family. Maybe they're money laundering. You don't know.
They were nice-looking guys. They weren't sort of dogs or anything like that. They were quite attractive men.
I mean, you should go out, Alison, and give them a wee wing. You should go over and go... You know, why don't you do that? Go on, Alison, you don't really have men at your door, so go out and get a bit of action.
Sort of going in and coming out, but there was one particular guy and I absolutely burst out laughing.
She went from saying the men are really attractive to then bursting out laughing. Yet again, Alison, why are you literally sat in your living room watching who's going into their house? Do people do that with me? Like, should I like keep an eye out? I should keep an eye out for Selena.
Went in again, quite a nice looking guy, came out, pulling himself up like this, tucking himself in, pulling himself together.
Right, okay, Alison, we don't need a demonstration. I also can't believe this is like an actual thing. This is what is on British television. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I love it. By the way, this series that we're watching is called Nightmare Neighbour Next Door. I can't tell if the two girls are a nightmare neighbour or if it's Alison.
And I just went, oh, you're a really sad man, you sad, sad man.
Why? You don't know what they're doing. Maybe he was just, you know, gaining a bit of weight and he needed to fix his shirt. Do you ever go outside and the wind blows you and you near feel like your face is about to rip off? Maybe that happened to him whenever he walked outside and the cold of the UK hit his face.
After an evening of constant visits, Alison had a disturbing suspicion about what was really going on next door.
I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest, I do side with Alison for this part. If you do have a neighbour and someone's constantly going to their house for 10-15 minutes, multiple times a day and it's different men, you are gonna think they're either a drug dealer or they're a prostitute.
So she confided in another neighbour 2 doors down.
Oh my god, so she's already started gossiping with the neighbour 2 doors down. I low-key want her in my area. Something about her is like low-key iconic. Like, yeah, she's a Karen. She's like the neighbourhood watch person. You know, if the kids are out playing after 8 PM in the street, Alison's out straight away to tell them to go home.
I asked her, had she seen the new neighbours? She said, yes. And I said to her, what do you think?
Imagine she turned around and she's like, I was with them all last night. They're lovely. Okay, so Alison and her wee girlie are gossiping. They're gonna come to a conclusion.
I said, are you thinking the same thing as I'm thinking? She said, I think they're prostitutes.
And yeah, they probably are. So what? What's wrong with that? You know, some people enjoy having intercourse. They want to do it with lots of people. There are people in this world that if they don't have it multiple times a day, they can't function. It's like a thing that they need. It's an addiction. You know, as long as they're being safe and they're not putting anyone at harm, like, there isn't really a problem with it, you know? They're probably making great money.
Now, I wasn't going to say that until I heard that come out of your mouth, and I thought exactly the same thing.
I mean, you knew all along, didn't you, Alison? You were stalking him for 48 hours, probably even more, probably like 700 hours. You see this woman right here, Alison's actually a witch from 400 BC. She has been stalking these girls since before they were born. Their great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather who was born in like Ukraine. Alison was there and she's followed the family tree ever since.
I was very concerned about what was going going on? I've lived around here for 30 odd years. Why should they have to put up with this?
That doesn't make any sense. Like, as long as they're not being disrespectful or disruptive, there's no real issue with it. Don't get me wrong, if they had like loads of bad people, like keep in mind, these are like rich people coming, so if anything, you should be happy. You know, Alison, you might meet your future husband because by the looks of it, you're lonely. But you know, as long as like they're not doing any actual damage to the community, there shouldn't be any problem with it.
All right, if people want to do that that's totally their prerogative, but not doing it next door to me.
Well, how about you move? Just because you've been living there for 30 years, so what? What does it mean? You know, maybe your neighbours want rid of you. Maybe all the neighbours would love to get rid of Alison, you know, get rid of the Karen down the road.
Alison was sure she was living next door to a brothel that had opened for business and seemed to be doing a roaring trade.
They're making money, at least they're like paying their rent. Would you much rather have an empty house beside you that's boarded up? Alison, maybe if you keep your mouth shut, they might give you £20 allowance.
But before long, the evidence of what they were up to was quite literally piling up.
Oh god, what's gonna happen? That doesn't sound good. They haven't killed someone, have they? I hope Alison doesn't come across a dead body in the back garden.
So I was just coming out of the back gate, just was taking the dog for a walk, just come round, and I couldn't believe what was sticking out the top of the bin.
What's gonna be in the top of the bin? It's gonna be a body, isn't it, Alison? It's gonna be their dead cat. Alison's got to the bottom of the mystery. She's found the dead body.
It was like an empty condom box. There was tissues all over the place. I thought, you dirty bitch. Fancy leaving that like that for it to all blow down the backs and everything.
Oh my god, Alison! She's just called her neighbours a slur. You can't say that. I mean, at least they're being, you know, safe. They're using protection. Would you much rather them not be using protection and having millions of babies? Maybe they'll be like Black China and you can take care of the baby every single day of the week except for Sunday.
Oh, that is minging. That's absolutely minging.
Well, at least they're wearing protection yet again, Alison. You know, by the sounds of it, you haven't had action in a while. I've got a feeling Alison's jealous that these girls are going at it 24/7. She hasn't had it in 30 years.
It was about 11 o'clock and I thought I'd have an early night. Just settled down to read and initially it was all lovely and quiet.
I'm not gonna lie, that is the most depressing bedroom I've ever seen. Also, I hate it whenever people have them Samsung tablets. My friend just had one of them, they're crap. I'm sorry, I don't understand why you buy a tablet. You might as well just read a book. Like, I'm telling you right now, them tablets are rubbish. They're just rubbish.
And then the banging started on the wall.
Maybe the guy with the ladder at the start of the video was doing some construction in the room. You know, Alison, he did have a ladder. He was like a workman. Yet again, I'm telling you, they could be completely destroying the house and like rebuilding it. And maybe like the workers are doing it for free. They're just getting a bit of action.
That went on for a while. Then the moaning started.
Okay, Alison, look, I think we know what you're saying, but you don't need to give us a demonstration. I bet you Alison pulled her wee stopwatch out straight away and she was timing it. Oh, they lasted for 10 minutes. That's pretty good.
And then it got a bit louder.
That is literally what I sound like whenever I've like sat on my leg for too long. Do you ever like sit in your leg and get pins and needles? That is me whenever I get pins and needles. That's also me whenever I need to do a poo and like it's really painful. I'm telling you, them painful poos are the worst types of poos ever.
And a bit louder. And a bit louder.
I actually can't believe this is real. Like, keep in mind, this was literally on television. Millions of people seeing this. The video has got like 600,000 views. 600,000 people have been sat in their room watching Alison recreating scenes. This has to be a comedy sketch.
And by this time, I'm getting more wound up. I was getting to the point where I'm thinking, oh no, I'm getting really anxious. I'm gonna have to go and sleep downstairs or something to get a decent night's sleep.
Well, maybe you should just scream, shut up! I'm telling you right now, Alison should just run around with her baseball bat. Break down their back window, Alison, maybe throw a box of condoms in as well.
And when Alison did finally drift off to sleep, lie-ins were off limits.
A lot of the time I actually woke up in the morning.
Yet again, you should be up. Maybe you shouldn't be having a lie-in. Yet again, does Alison have a job? She's given these girls a load of slack for, you know, obviously running a business. Maybe it's not the best thing to do, but you know, I don't think it's against the law, is it? Either way, as long as they're using protection and they're safe, I've got no real problem with it. You know, they're making money. What's Alison doing? She's sat at home complaining.
With the banging and the oohing and ahhing, and so I just laid there thinking I'm never going to be able to go back to sleep now.
Okay, so she literally laid there and listened to them. Maybe Alison, you should join in. Like, I'm sure they'd love for you to join in. Maybe you could become one of them. You could join their squad. Forget the Jew, become the free prostitutes.
I ended up getting up and just going to make a cup of coffee and then let them get on with whatever they were doing in the bedroom.
That's fine. Alison can go down and sit in her little TV room, stalk them and drink her cup of tea.
But it wasn't just the banging sounds coupled with the midnight moaning that was affecting Alison's quality of life. Witnessing the fruits of their labour would push her to her limit.
Wait, she witnessed it? What does that mean? Oh my god, did Alison break into the house? I told you she was going to do it and she actually has.
The girls went shopping one mid-afternoon, came back later on, they parked up, they got out shed loads of bags of designer gear.
Okay, so they literally just bought a load of designer gear. This is just straight jealousy. These girls have made money and Alison is jealous. She's genuinely sat at home with a cold cup of tea, lonely, 15,000 years old, and she's jealous of these European beautiful girls.
Alison was exhausted and desperate for the non-stop disturbance to end.
Maybe she's the disturbance. Like, keep in mind, she is also disturbing them. She's basically been stalking them. She's been looking through their bins. Do you want to know something? I think you should just take your dog for a walk and piss off.
But what she saw next would hammer home just how much business was booming.
I got up, went to draw the curtains back, looked down,
and what did she say? Imagine she sees him out the back doing it. Oh my god, actually, yeah, I kind of like support Alison if she sees that. Maybe keep it inside, girls.
I was absolutely devastated where all the rubbish bags were. They'd piled up loads of empty bags of designer stuff.
Oh my god, so that is such like a big shocking thing. Basically, they just have like the empty bags of designer stuff, like the wee bags of Tesco bags you get. This is just pure jealousy. And to be honest, I'm surprised she hasn't called the police yet.
Seeing their designer spends was all too much for Alison.
Couldn't believe it is me struggling financially. They've been out on a nice big shopping trip and bought all this designer stuff.
Well, that's how life is. You know, life is unfair. Do you have a job? Are you on benefits? You know, maybe there is a reason she's on benefits, but like if she's able to stalk them for like 12 hours a day and, you know, gossip about them, why can't you get a job, Alison?
I can't even afford that. I was really pissed off about it.
Well, then why don't you join them? Maybe you can start to make money. I'm telling you, Alison, it's a lucrative business. If you want to get a few pairs of Gucci flip-flops and like a Cartier love bracelet, just join in with the girls. I'm sure they'll accept you for you.
With no immediate end in sight, it was time for direct action.
Okay, time for direct action. What's gonna happen? Is Alison gonna go to the police or is she gonna break into the house and kidnap them?
It was disgusting. I couldn't put up with it. Why I should have had to put up with it. I wasn't going to put up with it, and so they had to go, basically.
They had to go. Why don't you go? You know, you're being annoying, you're stalking them, you're jealous. Maybe you should go, Alison, like, pew pew, bye bye.
Outraged by their brazen behaviour, Alison contacted the police.
It made me pretty angry, to be honest with you. I'm thinking, they're going to have to go. I can't put up with that. They're going to have to go.
What could you actually say to the police? I think my neighbours are like hookers. Like, is there a law to get them kicked out? I mean, realistically, they're just going to move somewhere else and do it. Do you want to know something? Fair play to the girls. They could probably rent a really nice apartment if they're able to afford all that designer gear. They've got all the rich sugar daddies wanting them.
Would Alison and their neighbours bid to get the brothel closed down and restore peace to their street be a success?
But has it actually caused any destruction except for Alison and maybe the neighbour beside them? You know, maybe she get thicker walls, get headphones. Alison, see these headphones right here? They're called Beat headphones. £279, they're amazing. They've got noise cancellation as well, so it's perfect for you.
It went through the courts, through the legal process that it had to go through.
It went through the court, so they literally did take them to court. Oh my god, like that's actually quite bad. Obviously, like the poor wee girls are gonna get kicked out of that area. But can Alison even afford a lawyer and like all the legal fees?
They got granted the antisocial behaviour order.
The order prohibited anyone from using the property.
So they basically did get kicked out. I mean, the girls are basically just gonna move on somewhere else. Like they're just gonna go and move somewhere else. So like another Alison in the UK is gonna have to put up with them.
Alison was over the moon.
That first night, after it had been served, they actually started to pack the car up. One of the girls brought out her little things with all the designer bags and all that, put all the cars in there.
I bet you Alison was stood at her front door going, well, hey, bye-bye. I mean, to be honest, I'd kidnap Alison, hold her at ransom.
The property has been boarded up, and Alison is more than relieved to see the back of her naughty neighbours.
So the house literally got boarded up and abandoned. So it literally makes your area look crap, like you've got an abandoned house that people don't live in. I mean, do you want to know something? I'm just gonna leave the video there. Obviously, Alison got her way. Moral of the story, if you're gonna move somewhere, make sure you don't have a Karen neighbour like Alison. Anyways, guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, press the big red subscribe button, and yes, I'll see you all in the next video.